In order to understand the difference between a habitat and a niche, one must be able to understand how each piece, such as factors, fit into an organism's puzzle. A habitat is an environment in which an organism lives. Examples of habitats are a desert, tundra, forest, and an ocean. A niche is an organism's way of life within an ecosystem. It includes one's habitat, food, predators, and the organisms in which it competes with. Examples of a niche is below. There are 3 different species that live in one tree. The yellowbird inhabits the upper tree regions, while the redbird inhabits the middle rows of trees, and the bluebirds inhabit the trunk and lower branches. Let's look at some examples. An example of habitats and niches in humans would be as follows. Dr. Philbrick is a professor at UConn. She has taught several classes in the same classroom for years. Her classroom is her habitat. Dr. Philbrick teaches biological sciences in this building at UConn Waterbury. This is her niche. This is Professor Brown, who teaches English, also at UConn Waterbury. Both Professor Philbrick and Professor Brown live in the same habitat, but have their own niche. An ecological example of habitats and niches would be the Galapagos Island, which has several types of finches that live on the island. Each finch's habitat would be the Galapagos Islands. However, their niches are different. Each bird has a specific beak for their niche. For an example of this would be the warbler finch has a thin beak for eating insects, while a ground finch has a short beak for eating seeds left on the ground. So how does a habitat define an environmental type? A habitat consists of numerous niches. It includes the effect of temperature, rainfall, and other abiotic or non-living factors. It supports numerous species at a time and is not species specific. It is a physical place, such as your home or your town. So back to the question. Habitats define an environmental type because there are vastly different habitats in our world. Some on the ocean floor, others in deserts, but each is indicative of its environment. Organisms choose to live in locations if they have a higher survival rate, thus species will find a habitat that suits their fitness. So how about another question? How does a niche define a species? A niche includes the flow of one organism's energy to the other through an ecosystem. It is only a part of a habitat. Species-specific, although it supports single species at a time. It includes abiotic and biotic factors. Examples of biotic factors would include predators, food source, mating. A niche allows the fittest species to survive. So how does a niche define a species? An ecological niche is the role and position a species has in its environment, how it meets its needs for food and shelter, how it survives, and even how it reproduces. A species' niche includes all of its interactions with the biotic and abiotic factors of its environment. It's advantageous for a species to occupy a unique niche in an ecosystem because it reduces the amount of competition for resources that species will encounter. It is key to remember the differences between a habitat and a niche. A habitat is where the organism finds food, shelter, and mates, whereas a niche is how it obtains food, mates, and protection from predators.